was mad at God. I had beef with him. I didn't want to hear you preach or even teach of him. I was mad at God, refused to even speak to him. Why should I pray and ask for things he knows I need from him? I was mad at God, I know you see me suffering. He must be mad at me cause life felt like a punishment. I was mad at God, why you take my twin from me? Could've took anyone but him from me. Hey, I was mad at God, why you let me feel this way? Clutching on this loaded gun, I feel like I could kill today. I was mad at God, I blamed him for my broken heart. I used to laugh when they say come here with an open heart. Hey, it was hard to let these church people get close to me, especially when most of them misrepresent who he supposed to be. I was mad at God for seeing big homie on dope. I watched his uncle overdose with his nose and some coke. I was mad at God for keeping me chained in my cell. I felt forgotten.
Welcome to Rightly Dividing the Word. And the reason why I'm doing this lesson today, when I was at Bible study this week, the question came up, the concern came up. One of the fellow members of the Bible study was confronted with somebody to say, they don't believe in the Old Testament, can't follow the Old Testament because of all the bad things or evil things that God did. And so this led to this question: is God evil, or am I just being a devil's advocate? But let's see.
That I decided I could no longer be a believer in any sense because, not because of my scholarship on the Bible, but because of the problem of suffering. I got to a point where I simply didn't believe that there's a God who's in control of this world. If you look around at all of the misery and the pain and the suffering, it doesn't look to me like God's intervening in this world and answering prayer and saving people and helping people. It doesn't look like that at all.
So, like many of you and many of Christians, a lot of you all are uncomfortable with Isaiah 45, verse 7. I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, the Lord, do all these things. So we are uncomfortable with this statement that God creates evil. And I'm going to go a step further with being a devil's advocate. And many of y'all think, how could a good God do something like this? So from 2 Samuel 6, verse 6, and many of y'all might recall this verse or verses. And when they came to Nashon's threshing floor, Uzzah put forth his hand to the ark of God, and he took hold of it, for the oxen shook it. Verse 7, and the anger of the Lord was kindled against Uzzah, and God smote him there for his error, and he died by the ark of God. See, how could God, a good God, punish someone for doing something to prevent a disaster? How could a good God do this? Well, number one, let's see what God says in Genesis 1:10. And God called the dry land earth, and the gatherings together of the waters called he seas, and God saw that it was good. So the dirt is good. So Uzzah, or we would have to presume that number one, Uzzah's hands were cleaner than the ground that the ark might have fallen on. That Uzzah's hands were cleaner than the dirt which it might have fallen on. After all, it only said it shook the ark. Or one would presume that God couldn't hold it up himself. Now let's see what Neil deGrasse Tyson has to say.
Your concept of a creator is someone who's all powerful and all good. That's not an uncommon pairing of powers that you might ascribe to a creator. All powerful and all good. And I look at disasters that afflict Earth and life on Earth: volcanoes, hurricanes, tornadoes, earthquakes, disease, pestilence, um, congenital birth defects. You look at this list of ways that life is made miserable on earth by natural causes. And I just ask, how do you deal with that? But if you've got some good evidence, bring it, bring.
But then let's bring it. So from Isaiah 45, verse 7 from the Legacy Standard Bible, it reads this way: the one forming the light and creating darkness, producing peace and creating calamity. I am Yahweh who does all these. So I can kind of understand why Bart Ehrman might feel that way, but I don't understand how Neil deGrasse Tyson, a world-renowned astrophysicist who knows or who think he knows how the universe was created, and that he also knows through his scholarly endeavors that the earth is a living organism too. That the earth is a living organism. And we're going to begin in Genesis 1:1. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. And if the earth is a living organism, I know that by all the calamities that Neil deGrasse described, that lets me know that the earth is alive. That the earth is alive. That all those things have to happen for the earth to give forth her life. For the earth to give forth her life. Those things are proof that the earth is alive. And therefore, if the earth is alive, therefore we are alive. And God's infinite wisdom, he tells us this in Isaiah 61. And I'm going to read from the Legacy Standard Bible. And he says, for as the earth brings forth its branches, and as a garden causes things sown in it to branch out, so Lord Yahweh will cause righteousness and praise to branch out before all nations. So all those things are unfortunate. The tsunamis, the hurricanes, the tornadoes, and the death that comes by that. But even with that, I know the earth is alive. And I know that if the earth is alive, we are alive. And I'm even taking it a step further, because one would presume that God promises all good days, that nothing bad supposed to happen, from these delivered ministries and all this. It's like, if you believe in God, the prosperity preachers, you can have nothing but health and goodness and money. But God didn't promise us all that. Quite the contrary. From Ecclesiastes 11, 7 and 8, from the Legacy Standard Bible, it reads, the light is sweet. It is good for the eyes to see the sun. Indeed, if a man should live many years, he said, if you should live many years, let him be glad in them all, and let him remember the days of darkness. So God said, man, if you live that long, remember the dark days, remember the bad days. And then guess what he says after that? For they will be many. So God said, if you live a long time, you're going to have many of bad days. You're going to have many of bad days. That's life, people. Life. That's life. So I think we forget that life is a gift. One would have to presume that we deserve the life that we were given. But on the contrary, that's not true either. Life was never promised to us. Life was gifted to us. So from Genesis 1, verse 27. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he, him, male and female, created them. God created us for no reason at all. We can't see it anywhere in the Bible why he created us. It was a gift, the gift of life. It is a gift. It is not promised to us. How do I know? I've talked to many couples who would give anything to have the procreation of life, who are barren couples who cannot produce kids. They would give anything to be able to procreate, to have bring forth that gift of life. Think about it, people. Life is a gift. Genesis 1, and we're going to go to the last verse, 31. And God saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good. The gift of this life is good. But make sense to me, because we want to impugn God for the calamity and the disaster that we see and say, how could there be a good God? But see, we want to invoke our emotions and put them on God. But make sense. In today's society, pro-choice versus the right to life, make it make sense. Once again, I see plenty of couples in the NICU, so that's the neonatal ICU, where their little baby from the birth age of 26 weeks to 36 weeks are on life support, on incubate. They come every day hoping that this gift of life will survive so that they can bring forth, or so that they can bask in the glory of that gift. And then on the other side, we see women going to a clinic out of convenience of their life to delete said life in the same 26 to 36 weeks. So then that would presume that our righteous judgment is greater than God's. Make that make sense. So a woman's right to choose in deletion of that child, we see no evil or no wrong in it, but yet we want to impugn God for the calamities that we see. Make it make sense. This world is twisted. So just remember this. God said he knew you before you were formed in your mother's womb. Before you were born, he set you apart. Life is a gift. So cherish the days that you have. Cherish the good times, because there will be bad times, because that's life. Life is a gift, and enjoy the gift that was granted to us. Quit impugning God because of his righteousness, of his righteous judgment. Honor and cherish the gift that was given to us. Peace.
Hey, but being wicked didn't feel right, man. And this what forgiveness feels like. Yeah, hey, living wicked didn't feel right. Nah, this what forgiveness feel like. Look, man, I made peace with God. Cry cause I need you, God. And I believe you, God, even when I don't see you, God. Hey, I made peace with God. Cry cause I need you, God. And I believe you, God, even when I don't see you, God. Hey, Kingdom Music, use the music, man, we sing to God. He's undisputed, ain't nobody here defeating God. That's why I turn to God and everything life throws at me. When I look back, I see the hand that God was holding me. Hey, I'm in love with God and everything about him now. I'm in love with God, I'm nothing here without him now. Filled with compassion, I refuse to have a hardened heart. I'm about to bounce back on these boys like I was Marcus Clark. Remember not the sins of my youth. If you gon' cut the sin from the root. They tender hearts and humble minds. That's why I turn to God in troubled times. I'm at peace with you right now. I believe in you right now. I'm no longer mad, got you all I ever had. I'm at peace with you right now. I believe in you right now.